Good day. Our study is entitled Validating Real-Time Detection Models for Fileless Malware, Simulating the Asteroid Kill Chain via Atomic Red Team. This study was conducted by Cyprian Garpida, Natalie Joy Veluz, and yours truly, Arsenio Nicolas Jr. Cybersecurity threats have grown increasingly sophisticated, and one of the most dangerous developments in recent years is fileless malware. Unlike traditional malware, fileless malware does not rely on files stored on disk. Instead, it executes malicious code directly in a computer's memory, making it extremely difficult for conventional antivirus software to detect. A well-known example of this is the Astaroth Trojan, also known as Guildma. Astaroth uses what are called the living of the land techniques, meaning it abuses legitimate Windows system tools like WMIC, BitsAdmin, and PowerShell to carry out its attack. Because it hides behind during trusted system processes, it blends in with normal system activity and avoids raising alarms. This creates a serious problem for Security Operations Centers or SOCs. Security teams often face false negatives, situations where malicious activity is happening but goes completely unnoticed. And on top of that, there is a lack of realistic testing environments that can properly simulate fileless malware behavior, which makes it even harder to evaluate and improve detection systems. This brings us to what our study set out to accomplish. We had three main objectives. First, we wanted to evaluate how well SIEM and EDR platforms respond to the behavioral indicators produced during a fileless malware attack, specifically one that operates in memory and uses legitimate system tools. Second, we aim to determine whether current detection mechanisms can effectively catch these kinds of attacks, ones that leave minimal traces on disks and rely on LOTL techniques to stay hidden. And lastly, we wanted to contribute meaningful insights into the strengths and limitations of behavioral detection, with the goal of helping improve cybersecurity defense strategies against threats like Asteroid.
Now let's move on to our review of related literature. First, researcher shows that fileless malware executes malicious code directly in system memory, allowing it to bypass traditional antivirus solutions that rely on signature-based detection. Because these attacks leave minimal trace on disk, they can remain undetected for long periods. Many attackers as well use a living off the land techniques where legitimate system utilities such as PowerShell, WMIC, and BitsAdmin are abused to execute malicious commands. The MITRE attack framework is commonly used to analyze these techniques and understand the different stage of cyber attacks. Third is the behavioral detection system. Since fileless malware operates in memory, researchers recommend behavior-based detection instead of traditional signature-based antivirus. Tools like SIEM and EDR monitor system activities such as process, network traffic, and command line execution to detect unusual behavior. Fourth is the adversary emulation frameworks. Tools such as Atomic Red Team allows researchers to simulate real-world cyber attacks in a controlled environment, helping evaluate how effectively security system detects malicious activity. Finally, studies on Astaroth malware shows that it is sophisticated fileless Trojan that relies on living off the land techniques and legitimate window tools to execute commands and communicate with command and control servers. Our study follows the three-stage methodology to simulate and evaluate fileless malware behavior. The first stage is the attack mapping. In this setup, we analyze the behavior of the Astaroth malware and map its techniques to the MITRE attack framework. This framework helps categorize attacker actions across different stages such as execution, persistence, and command and control communication. The second stage is the adversary emulation. The identified techniques were simulated using Atomic Red Team, which provides control attack simulation based on attack techniques. These simulations were executed as well in a virtual environment to safely replicate attacker behavior without deploying real malware. The third is the detection validation. During the simulations, the system telemetry such as process logs, command line activities, and network events were collected and analyzed using SIEM and EDR monitoring platforms. The performance of this detection system were evaluated based on detection accuracy, detection timing, and false negatives.
This slide shows the criteria we use to evaluate the detection performance of the monitoring system. To measure how well the system responded to simulated attacks, we use three main criteria. The first is detection accuracy. This checks if the system correctly identified the malicious activity. In other words, we look at whether the attack technique was detected and classified properly. The second is detection timing. This measures how fast the system generated an alert after the attack started. Faster detection is important because it allows security teams to respond quickly and reduce potential damage. The third is false negative. This refers to malicious activity that happened but were not detected by the system at all. Identifying these misattacks help us understand the weakness or gap in the security monitoring system. Using these three criteria help us objectively evaluate the effectiveness of the detection system during the attack simulation. In this slide, it shows the detection result of our attack simulation. So most of the attacks were successfully detected, but there are three techniques were not detected, which shows there are still some security gaps. First, the system quickly detected activity such as peer phishing link execution, PowerShell commands, CMD activity, WMIC usage, and registry run key changes. These were usually detected within less than a minute, and alerts were generated immediately. Second, some attacks were detected with delay, including bits admin downloads, script obfuscation, and credential dumping. This took a few minutes before alerts were triggered. And lastly, process injection, command and control over HTTP or HTTPS, and data exfiltration were not detected because it mimics normal system or network activity. Overall, the system detects early stage attacks well, but improvements are needed for more advanced and stealthy attacks. To conclude, our study shows that behavioral detection is important for detecting fileless malware attack. It performs better than traditional signature-based antivirus, especially when detecting suspicious commands and system activity. However, it is not perfect. Some advanced techniques, especially leaving off the land attacks, can still bypass detection because they look like normal system behavior. Because of this, system security must be continuously updated and improved using better detection rules, machine learning, and threat intelligence. Finally, using atomic red team help us simulate real attacker behavior and identify detection gaps in the system. Thank you, and that concludes our presentation. To conclude, this study shows that behavioral detection plays an important role in detecting fileless malware attack. However, it is only effective when it is continuously tested, updated, and improved. Our result shows that behavioral detection performs better than traditional signature-based antivirus, especially for detecting suspicious commands and system activities. But it is not perfect, since some advanced techniques were still able to bypass detection. For example, leaving off the land techniques can mimic normal system behavior, which makes them harder for security system to detect. Because of this, organizations should continuously update detection rules, integrate machine learning, and use threat intelligence feed to strengthen their security monitoring. Finally, using Atomic Red Team proved to be very useful because it allowed us to simulate real attacker behaviors and test how well the detection system performs. Overall, this approach helped organizations identify detection gaps and improve their cybersecurity defense. Thank you, and that concludes our presentation.